What if I told you that one piece of 5-minute content could generate a whole month's worth of marketing material? Well, stay tuned as marketing expert Emanuel Rose reveals why most businesses are working way too hard on content creation and how they could be working smarter instead. What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Well, today I'm excited to introduce you someone who's about to change the way you think about content creation and marketing. Emanuel Rose isn't just your typical marketing expert. No. And that's why he's on the Dark Horse Entrepreneur podcast. He's someone who's learned the value of practical simplicity from watching his dad work in a factory every single day. Emanuel took this duct tape simple approach and turned it into a marketing agency that has been successfully serving clients for over 3 decades. But here's why I really wanted to bring Emanuel's insights to you on this episode today. It's because he understands something crucial, something so critical about modern content creation that most people completely miss. All right, Emanuel, man. Thanks for giving me some of your time today. How you doing today, brother?
Doing really good. Appreciate being here. Looking forward to seeing what we explore.
That's right. See where we end up taking this. We go so many different directions, especially I know you're a bit of a marketing geek like I am. I was looking at some of the long list of books you have, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. The first thing I'd like you to do is kind of give us the Cliff Notes version of Emmanuel Rose and the good, the bad, the ugly, and the kind of the things that kind of brought you to where you are and what it is you love doing today.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was born in Modesto, California, which is like Central California, farm country. My parents were working class people, and I watched my dad go to the factory every day, and I realized I wanted to use my brain, not my body. But to carry on the super strong work ethics and very functional simplicity that was his core philosophy. And so that's what I say about the way I approach marketing is that it's duct tape simple and that there's just a few things that I hold on to. I went to college a few times and realized that I was a much better self-learner than the college learner.
It's a different type of learning. It really is.
Yeah. And I lived all over the West Coast from Seattle to Tucson and now in the central part or the northern part up in on the coast in the redwoods, and then we have a house in Reno also, so we're kind of back and forth. But I spend the falls connected to the world with my Starlink while I'm camping and hunting and fishing, and I love that. That's been a nice change. And been running the agency remotely for 15 years, marketing agency for 15 years.
Nice.
So I've been able to carve out a very unique and nomadic lifestyle for myself. And the only gating item is when Susan says, I want to spend some time together. I need to see you.
Right? How dare they?
But no, it's good. It's been good. I love where marketing's going right now. I love the advent of generative AI and this big push of tools that we're seeing, and in a lot of ways democratizing marketing for people who are willing to put a little time and energy into it.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time and energy. All right, just get your feet wet, and all of a sudden these creative ideas start to flow, don't they?
Yeah. And there's what I consider so much help now, right? Where you can spend some time with Claude and put in a few random ideas and get some other things spit out, and then you can follow that rabbit hole in a way that you couldn't do 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's interesting you say follow that rabbit hole because I have dug deep into those rabbit holes at times. The next thing you're like 7 hours later going, wow, what was I been, what happened here? But it's fun, right? It really is. It's a blast. Now, you said you've run a marketing agency for the past 15 years. Any specific niche or kind of focus that you and your agency do?
Yeah, we're B2B focused, and
Okay.
I have just by natural inclination fallen into content marketing and lead generation, and the way those two things kind of interlink. And again, I love where we're at in terms of tools and ability to take 5 minutes of Zoom or 5 minute podcast like this and turn it into a month's worth of marketing.
Right.
It's a miracle.
It really
Uh,
is.
and I have a background in manufacturing. That was some of my first first forays in business. So I love manufacturing and then financial services and insurance tends to be where we get our clients.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. I know one of the things you just mentioned there is something I just spat out a number of episodes about in articles is about content marketing. So many folks get burned out with it, but I think it's because they keep trying to create something new every day or multiple times a day. They've got Gary V in the air saying 100 pieces of content a day. And you're like, well, wait a
Right.
minute, it's 100 pieces that get published, but you could take one or two pieces of good content, like you said, like a podcast episode or a Zoom video that you do live, and just chop that up. And next thing, there you go. There's your 50 pieces. And then you spin those into either articles or pictures or quote cards. Now you're at 75. And next thing, you have your 100 pieces of content from one. And there's some magic that people are missing. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I think the the value of podcast guesting is
Mm,
a 10,000%. And for whatever reason, it's like that fear of public speaking. I think that is kind of transmitted directly into being a podcast guest
right.
and much less a host, right? Like it's either side of the podcast is a great spot to generate those original pieces of content like you're describing, like you talked about in that previous episode, where you're able to take, and it literally is 5 minutes. I mean, it does not take a long piece to be able to put that into Opus Clips, get some shorts out of it, which are
Yeah.
going to get watched 40 to 400 times more than long form,
Mm-hmm.
to pull the transcript out, make a blog post out of that, and then to take and make all the social media and memes and quick posts out of that blog content. And then you've covered your video content, you've covered reaching new audiences through the podcast host,
Yeah.
you've covered SEO, and then you've covered your social media. And literally, it's 5 minutes for a month's worth of content and checking all those bot marketing boxes, plus
Right.
your email newsletter and potentially your texting.
Yeah. No, 100%. Don't underestimate the power of the podcast. And no, I didn't pay him to say that, ladies and gentlemen. No. No, but seriously, I mean, I got into podcasting back in 2007 when it was really super young. And it
Yeah,
was obviously it was different back then, but I think the adventures of 2020 certainly brought podcasting to the forefront, and a lot of people jumped into the pool at that point and have seen the magic of being on both sides of the mic. For someone like
yeah,
you, it's like, hey, here's a great way for me to leverage Tracy's platform and John and Jane and all the other folks' their platform out there to get my message out just by sharing value, which is
right.
really what content marketing is. I mean, to be honest, at the core of it, the content you put out, it's got to bring some value to the person on the other side. Otherwise, they're not going to consume it. You've just wasted your time. If you're
For
just
sure.
doing it to say, hey, look how amazing I am,
Yeah.
okay, let's not do that, right?
Yeah, that's called an advertisement. And
Exactly.
yeah.
And you have to be someone like Coca-Cola to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, yeah. Now it is amazing in the podcasting part, and I've been a guest for a lot longer than I have had my shows,
Mhm.
and they have kind of different requirements, right? Different level of energy. But
Mhm.
now what's nice is I have my team doing most of the pre and post production, so I can just show up and be talent, which is very beautiful,
Ah,
and be very present in these conversations, because it is like I was on yesterday with a guy from Australia, and like we would never have crossed paths if it
mhm.
wasn't for the podcast, right?
Yeah,
So
no,
it's really
100%. That's awesome.
a
All
cool
right, so
conversation.
I want to dig in. One of the topics as I was looking around in your, I did a little research. I'm one of those smart podcasters. You have a book out. Let me make sure I got the title right here. It was, well, there was a couple of them. One is Authenticity Marketing to Gen Z. And there was like this whole leverage thing about Generation Z. And I don't think there's a lot of folks out there thinking about it because those, I think, if I'm correct in my timing, those are the folks that kind of graduated maybe just before all the craziness of 2020. So they're starting to get into their first jobs. They're the next market of money, right? They're the
Yeah,
ones that are going to start with their jobs. So they're going to be the ones you need to be marketing to to keep things moving forward in whatever business or opportunities you got going on. Do we market to them differently than we do to like me, a boomer, or other folks? I'm thinking the answer is yes, but I don't know, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are the tr first truly digital natives, right? And so they've never known a day without a smartphone or the internet.
Hmm.
And so and they also have got extremely short attention spans. So their reticular activating system or their filters are extremely well honed, especially in marketing and advertising.
Hmm.
So that's why they require that human influence, the Kylie Jenner kind of Richard Branson, Elon Musk kind of influencer,
Yeah.
but that is also the one who founded or is running the company. And that's why it's so critical for us as small business to emulate and take that role as an influencer for our company and not just be about products, but also be about who we are as humans and what we're doing in our community and how we're
Right.
supporting the people around us.
I think that's kind of huge is so many people miss it is it's not just about what you do on a microphone or what you do behind the keyboard as part of your revenue earning opportunities. It's who you are as a person. Because and this is me. This has been me from the jump. I come from uh, a, a father who was a 23-year military man who got where he was in life through relationships. I
Oh,
might
nice.
not have known how to do it, but I know three guys that will come over and hang out, and for beer and pizza, will do it
Right.
for me, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I was lucky enough to learn that very, very young. And I think the Gen Zs they're looking for that person, not just the service.
Yeah.
Everyone does the service. All right, everyone's got a B2B marketing agency, but he
Yeah.
says, poking a little fun at you.
Yeah.
But having the right that B2B marketing agency that speaks to you, not just is transactional. Does that make sense? Is that where you're
Yeah.
kind of going with
100%.
that?
Yeah, and I think part of it is because they have grown up behind the screens, and so
Mhm.
there is a little bit of void, that human void that they feel, whether they can
Yeah.
speak that or not. I think psychologically, that's the situation. They need that more connection, and they want experiences, right? They want to, and they're very committed to education. So it's not just about buying an RV, but they want to also get a slack line and an electric bike and experience all the things that go along with it. And
Sure.
they might not even know how to go camping, right? So they're looking for help, even the most fundamental things that we take for granted because we were off the leash.
Yeah.
They have a different kind of learning curve because of the connection with the technology.
Yeah. Okay, so you've mentioned technology first, because to your point, I mean, they are the ones. I think I have my youngest daughter fits into this Gen Z. Like she had her sidekick phone, and then behind that was the iPhone, and
Right.
it was her lifeline to all of her friends at school and everything going on in the world and in her life. How do we as business folks, I don't care what your business is, you could have brick and mortar, you could be a soft service coach. How do we market to this new generation of digital natives?
Be focused on video first. That's the starting point, and be on camera and be an influencer. And it's a very simple content calendar. It is about what you did over the weekend that was supporting in the community you live in. Who are the favorite staff people that you have right now, or
Mhm.
employee of the week or month, or some emotional connection you have that way. A client that is you're having success with, and those interactions and the outcomes they're getting. And then last is product or service announcement. But as the CEO of a company, if you can have that 90-second iPhone recording on Monday morning about one of those five topics and email that to your marketing team,
Hmm.
then you're miles ahead of most small, medium-sized businesses.
So and that's a great information, and I appreciate that. Let's take that one step down. Let's say one of the folks that are listening, and I know one of them will be, or watching this, goes, "Well, I don't have a team. I'm just Mr.
Yeah.
Solopreneur."
All right.
Give them a couple of tips on how they can do that same thing and say, "Wow, I could actually get that done in a reasonable amount of time."
Yeah, I would say use the free version of Zoom and talk
Hmm.
into it, and then take that Zoom clip and put it into Opus Clips
Yeah.
or ClipScribe. And from that, then you're able to build that 2-minute video that can go onto YouTube. Plus, you'll end up with the clips that you need for Instagram and TikTok. And then like ClipScribe will also build that transcription for you so we can run through that content sequence that we talked about earlier
Mhm.
with the blog post and social posts. And really in about 2 hours on a Monday, you will have at least a week's worth of content and also content for your pay-per-click campaign if you're running those
Mhm.
and your email newsletter. So you really can get it really dialed in and wrapped up in an easy, consistent workflow in 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And actually, I everything you mentioned, I've run through all those tools. I used Opus Clip. I actually just turned off my subscription because I found a tool that I liked better,
What's that?
and it's called Rocket Clips.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And
Rocket.
it literally just launched about 2 weeks ago because
Yeah,
I tried them all. I tried Spikes and I tried Opus Clips and I tried Munch, and they're all good, and
yeah,
they're just a little different. And so I tried this new one. I'm like, okay, I really like this one.
nice.
So it really the tools to help you do these things and take a single piece of long form content and dice it up and send it out. Here's another one, and I don't know if you know about this one. You can take one of your clips and send it to one of your platforms, and then use a tool like repurpose.io,
Yeah,
and it will say every time I go and I drop something, say on TikTok, I'm going to grab that video and I'm going to send it to Facebook, and I'm going to send. So now you don't even have to go and individually drop them around, and it
right.
will just push it out, and it's like, wow, you cut that 2 hours down to 1 hour. It's really good stuff that's going on out there.
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle, like anything new, is that you've just got to A, schedule the time
Mm.
and B, muddle through it the first 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
get used to the environments, and then by within 6 weeks, it will just be second nature. And
If right, and let's be honest, and I think Emmanuel will nod his head to this. It's going to slow you down at first. Just like anything else, right?
yeah,
Any new process that you institute in your business or in your life, it slows you down because you're breaking an old habit and you're starting a new one. But man, once you do like you said, and you just kind of muddle your way through it the first few times, it's going to save you lots of time. I know the first couple of times I muddled through like an Opus Clips or a Repurpose. I didn't even do it during normal work hours. I was sitting with my laptop on my lap while we were watching one of our brain-numbing television shows. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
well, I can listen to the show and do this at the same time. That way, I was turning in productive time into more productive time. And the next thing I know, it's like, oh, this is easy to do. Bing, bang, boom. It's always bang, and it's magic. I would urge anyone out there to explore the new AI options that are out there.
And if you're at a loss for content, then you just put that question in chat with your URL and just say, what is it as a marketing genius? What content should I produce for the next 6 weeks by video to have repurposed? And then chat will spit you out 15 ideas, and then you could take 3 or 4 of them and run with it.
Yeah, 100%. And it actually gets even better if you give the chat kind of who you are, what your business is, and then maybe if you have built a buyer avatar or a persona,
Yeah. Yeah,
and you
your
drop that
ICP.
in there, and next thing you know, it says, "Oh, well, now we're really talking about these topics." And things that you're gonna like, wow, of course I want to talk about that. It won't be anything you'll be like, oh my God, I would never talk about that. It'll be things like, well, duh, of course that's what I want to talk about. It just
Yeah, and sometimes
it
it really is the simplest thing or the things that you've kind of grown tired of talking about that the new buyers and new people want to understand about your product or service.
100%. And I think you got to keep saying it because you, as the expert in whatever genre you're in, yeah, you've said it 1,000 times, but that person on the other end, this is probably the first time they've heard it.
Yeah.
Or if it's not, it's you reinforcing it for them through your experiences. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, we have to establish ourselves as the subject matter expert and start at the beginning in order to
Yeah,
bring people up to current reality.
cool. Right on. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges? Well, let's go into the marketing agency. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced, or maybe that you're still facing today in the marketing arena?
Well, one is just staying up to date with everything, right?
Yeah,
The
real.
software is progressing so quickly, and so just staying on top of these new tools. And like you're talking about with repurpose, and in that situation where they're able to leapfrog the existing tools and totally bring in all this new stuff,
Yeah.
right? And and so as a marketing agency owner, the biggest bill I have is SaaS. It's just constantly spending money on these recurring monthly fees. And so
Hmm.
to find tools that can combine activities and streamline is really one of the things I'm after all the time.
Right.
And then the other thing is just is finding good subject matter experts to contribute to projects. Yeah, that will be consistent and show up every time when they say they're going to and produce work and communicate. The laptop lifestyle, while it's beautiful for all of us, it also encourages people to sometimes not be as professional as they should be and choose lifestyle more than
True.
projects on time.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's very true. I think I'm not sure of Emmanuel's age, ladies and gentlemen, but I think he's a little longer in the tooth, much like I am. And I think some of that job integrity, not job integrity, some of that just I'm gonna keep doing it because it's the right thing to do. Some of that's kind of fallen by the wayside.
Yeah,
It's not 100% of these newer generations, but it seems to be a little more permeant than I would like or than you would like. Then, because I think about my grandparents, my great grandparents, my
yeah,
parents,
right.
they're out there just cracking knuckles and breaking bones, getting stuff done. And I look around nowadays going, well, you're not going to get it back like that. You're going to have to get out there and sweat, a little blood,
Yeah,
little tears, little elbow grease, make it happen.
right.
Everyone wants the digital nomad lifestyle or the influencer lifestyle, but they don't want to put in the work. They see the Gary V's, they see the Mr. Beasts, and they see
Yeah,
these influencers of all different levels and go, that's what I want. Look how easy that is.
right.
Well, yeah, but how much work did they put in to get to where they are? You agree with that?
Yeah, and it's interesting. This is not a new initiation of the human psyche. The Chinese have a phrase that says, "Everybody wants to shoot the bow, but no one wants to pull the string." And so when I stumbled onto that, I'm like, okay, well, of course, we're fundamentally an animal that is lazy and wants to
Mhm.
put out as least amount of effort for the most amount of food possible so that we can continue. And yeah, our grandparents would be shocked at how lazy even we are, right?
Yes.
Compared to what they had to how much they had to persevere in order to accomplish. And now, I mean, you and I are just keyboard jockeys in comparison to being in a can plant turning screws on these giant machines or whatever
Right.
the thing was. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was lucky enough to know my great grandma, and she had moved from Flores, Kansas, over to Southern California, Whittier, Southern California specifically, as a little girl during the covered wagon days. And she would
Yeah.
share some of those stories, and she was around when the Nixon family was just coming up through the political ranks, and her
Yeah.
mom was like a maid there, and all just when they got to California, they built their own house. And you're like, what? I mean, even just me being a boomer, I'm like, build my house? No. And she
Yeah.
was there with them doing things. I'm like, it's nuts. And we just bought a farm up here in Wisconsin, and we're stepping back and
Right.
doing more things with our hands, so making our own food and growing things and raising animals and still doing the keyboard jockey thing, like you said. But it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's something really fulfilling about a hard day's work, whatever it
Sure.
is, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's turning that big nut in a factory or thank you, would you like to upsize that?
Right.
Whatever it
Right.
is for you, man, I get out there and give it your all because when you lay your head on the pillow, it's like, I did a good thing today. Is that you agree?
Yeah, and I think we lose a little bit of sight of this and that, like you're talking about with the Mr. Beasts and these people who are these icons of personality. And then also even with the AI, where it's like, well, look, the AI is going to write our books for us and our blog
Hmm.
posts. And but the reality is, as human beings, we're incarnated to do work and to have this spark of creativity and to contribute and to help people around us. And these are well documented truths about being a human being for at least the last 10,000 years. And so we have to have a little bit of discipline of what is the work that I'm going to do? What am I committed to doing?
Mhm.
And that way I do have some satisfaction and I have some purpose and value more than just a spending unit.
Yeah, I want to give something somewhere. And it almost loops us all the way back around to the question about Gen Z is like, what are you doing to give back, whether it be to your community or to your family or to them as a prospect? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think it's critical, and it's a mandatory for to sell to that generation as marketers, but it's also something that we all in all our generations can attach to it on the human level, which is I want to support companies that are doing good things in my community and for the things I care about, right?
Yeah. But and on the flip side of that, I mean, you could say, well, I'm not enjoying what that company is doing over there. Here's a perfect example. There was a coffee company that I was a fan of. They had a good product, but their whole messaging was based off of they were veteran owned and veteran run.
Right.
Okay. I'm a veteran, my dad's a veteran, my grandfather was a veteran. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Then I found out the dude never served. Never ever served. He was just using that as a marketing gimmick
All right.
and it worked. And I'm like, okay, I still love your product, but I can't buy it in good conscience.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, and I
Yeah.
think this is where a lot of us and these Gen Z folks, maybe even more so, because that's what they have. They're like, oh no, you're a bad person because you leveraged my connection and then used it for your benefit, not just mine. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So that's a betrayal of trust at a very deep level. And yeah, we want to do business with people we know, like, and trust.
Hmm.
And yeah, so if you betray that trust, then you're done.
You got to keep it. Just be you, man.
Yeah.
You just be you, and you will attract the people that vibe with you. There's enough money to go around. There's enough marketing to go around. I mean, my man's been running a marketing agency for 15 years, and trust me, he's probably only scratched the surface of the amount of marketing money that's out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I only have 15 clients, so there's a lot of other people out there.
Yeah. Now, would you say in that 15 clients that enables you to live that digital nomad lifestyle that you get to enjoy?
Yeah, that in combination with some very committed people on my team, right? I have people who show up every day and are very capable of solving whatever challenges come up. So
Nice.
I'm very lucky that way. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of folks, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's a lot of folks out there that if they're early in their entrepreneurial journey, they might still be solopreneurs, that they think, oh God, I need like 100 clients. How am I ever going to manage that many people? And it's like, oh, no, you don't. You need a handful of really good clients that are giving you top dollar for your top services. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge in starting services, particularly, is
Mhm.
especially when you're delivering them also, is that there's a certain amount of fear about charging as much as we're worth and as the
Sure.
service is worth. And that'd be one place where I would recommend you get some help and even pay for some help is on
Yeah.
how you charge for your services to make sure that it's market standard and that your fulfillment rates and what you offer are coherent with the marketplace so that you can get paid full value.
There you go. 100%. And do you go, let's say you're going after a new client, you want client number 16. Do you go at them with a value-based proposition, or are you going with all right, I'm going to undercut the person. I know you're paying $15,000 a month. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do it for 14.
Yeah, now I believe you're bringing value, and
Hmm.
and that's the primary thing. So I have lots of different top of the funnel offers from how to write a prompt to let's do a test to assess your brand. Here's the checklist for content marketing. So a variety of, or here's some books that you can order or participate in that I've written so that there's education. They're saying now it takes somebody 6 hours of research when they're looking to hire a new vendor.
Hmm.
So that's you've got to have 2 or 3 hours worth of content in order to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's it has to be valuable to them. It has to show your competence.
Yeah.
Uh, so when we just get to trying to undercut and do it on price, then in my experience, those are clients that I don't want, right? If it's
Yeah.
just about price.
I would agree with you 100%. When you start doing that on the price basis, you almost become a commodity, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
there's a dozen of you out there. Okay, well, go
Right.
check them out. Yeah, but when you come at them with the here's the value that I and my team bring to you, Mr. Business Owner, Miss Business Owner, and here's what we can get for you, then it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're worth more than you're even charging me.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the position you want to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And then, yeah, I've had some of my clients that entire time. So that's the other litmus test that I have is, what is the churn rate low? And because it's way cheaper to maintain client base than it is to chase new clients.
Yeah, what's funny is I learned that one early on in my marketing career, way back in my Coca-Cola days. They're like, if it cost us $30 to get a client, it costs us $120. If it costs us $30 to keep a client, it costs us like $120 to get the client. I'm like,
Right.
well, guess where we're focusing our money at, right?
Retention. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just don't want, oh yeah, that churn is ugly. You've mentioned a couple of times your books. I'm going to make sure everyone down there listening and watching will see a short list. I know there's about 6 of them out there that caught my eye. We'll put a list of those down in the show notes. You mentioned you had an offer for our folks. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I'd love for you to go to my website, emmanuelrose.com, and do a brand assessment. And it's called the S test. And it helps to establish where you are, what type of offer you have, whether that's as the expert or whether it's as innovation. And
Mhm.
it helps to frame as a company maybe how you can adjust your sales and marketing to be more emotional and to sell into the things that you are as a company and as a brand.
Nice. All right. And that was your website here. Make sure I got that down correctly so we don't. That's emmanuelrose.com.
Yeah, and that yes test is in the products area of
In
the
the products
website.
area. All
Yeah.
right. So we'll make sure that link is down there for folks to check out and do that brand assessment. Emmanuel, man, I want to be mindful of your time, but I definitely appreciate you coming and hanging out. Any final words of wisdom you'd like to drop on us before we say goodbye?
Well, I liked what you had in that previous episode about your ideal client profiles,
Hmm.
and and I would say just for people to spend a little bit of time mapping out their marketing process and their sales process, their deliveries process, and their retention process, and understanding how all those things tie together, and then seeing how to get better in each of those areas, and whether you need more humans to help you or you need software to help you in each of those segments of your business. It's worth spending an hour and whiteboarding all that out and being
Yeah.
clear about it so that you can begin to run establishing the business in structure also.
100%. I'm gonna build on that. That was a mic drop moment. But just between us, I don't know if this will make it in the episode itself. Some folks don't even know they need a process. This is what I keep finding is as I have dialogue with folks, it's like, what are you talking about? A marketing process?
Right.
Don't I just buy ads and people come to me? Well, okay, yeah, you
Yeah.
can, but
Right.
there is a process around taking who you're trying to attract. There's a process for building the marketing to attract those right people, and then segmenting them out where they're at in their journey. Oh, he's not ready yet. I'm going to keep marketing to them this way, or they're right at the buying decision. I'm going to mark. You with me on this?
I am, yeah. And
Uh,
I think the best worst example is the restaurant industry, right?
oh,
That if you showed me 10,000 restaurants, I would show you three that have a customer list. And to me, it is the most insane thing ever in an entire industry that they do not have a culture of maintaining a customer list and reaching out and inviting people in on Monday nights when it's slow, on Wednesday nights for the Tastemakers Club, for the wine tasting or the whiskey tasting or the rum tasting.
yeah.
They spend so much money on advertising and they have invested nothing in their customer list. And it just, as the marketer in me just cries.
Every single day. I know when I was doing a lot of local marketing, I reached out to a number of the local restaurants and I went at them with a birthday idea.
I love it. Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
hey, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna offer them a free, heck, you can even offer them a free entree, but certainly a free appetizer on
Yeah.
or around their birthday, right? And they're like, well, I don't know. I said, well, look at it this way. What is your average tabletop on when they have someone come in? No, our average is 2 or 3. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
you got 2 paying customers and one you're going to give a free item to. Even if it's an entree,
Yeah.
you've just almost tripled that ticket at one time. And you could see the wheel, the light starting to go, oh, wait a minute. And all you got to do is, heck, just put a fish bowl out there and tell them to drop their card for a free
Exactly.
birthday. And you start building the list and you email it out to them. And I said, and then if you really want to, you could say, all right, well, you didn't come in on your birthday. Here's something else.
Yep.
You just start talking to, hey, here's the chef special for next week.
Yeah.
You don't even need to say, give them any free. Just tell them what's coming up. Oh, wow.
Right.
I
Yeah.
love habanero sauce. I'm going to come in for that.
Right.
Front of mind, when they get hungry, you want to be the first thing they think about. And they're like, man, I never thought about it that way. It's marketing 101, right?
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing. It's so through and through in that industry. For whatever reason, they're not oriented to keeping a customer list and doing outreach. But
Yeah.
I sure would like to work with the association of restaurants and
Right?
get them fixed.
Change that mindset, which begs, and I think we'll probably end up dropping it right here. It begs the question, whatever industry you're in, my friend, when you're listening right now, is there something in your industry that is standard, much like not building an email list for a restaurant, that is dragging you down?
Yeah.
And if it did, just, I don't know what industry you may be listening to, my friend, but when you're listening right now, think about it. Wow, we always do this. Well, ask yourself why.
Why?
Is there a
Yeah.
better way? Right? Okay. Emmanuel, once again, man, thank you for your time. I appreciate you hanging out with us today.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it today, Tracy. Thank you so much.